Welcome back. Global learning threatens future of millions of young students in low and middle income countries. This is an assertion of the World Bank following research conducted recently. The World Bank believes that without adequate learning, education will fail to deliver on its promise to eliminate extreme poverty, create shared opportunities and prosperity for all. A global UNICEF report launched on Wednesday in Abuja shows that Nigeria had the majority of her children at risk of underdevelopment, both physically and mentally, because of critical national policies depriving them of adequate foundation during their formative years. A 2016 national survey indicates that 31% of children under the age of 5 are moderately or severely underweight and lack early childhood developmental support in Nigeria. Well, Terry Dernian joins us from Abuja studios. He is the Chief of Education from the United Nations Children's Education Fund, UNICEF. Thank you so much for joining us. Well, recent reports launched in Nigeria by UNICEF says the lack of early childhood development support is a reason for more than half of Nigerian children under 5 risking poor development. What exactly does that mean?
It means that children are not given the opportunity to develop to their full potential. We know from science that brains are built, they're not created. So the better we build brains, the better we build futures. So we're looking at issues around nutrition, protection, and early stimulation. And these areas are very important to invest in when a child is young, because 99% of the brain is developed before the age of 5. So it's before 5 you need to invest in. And really, you're investing in the future. And you invest in early childhood development or nutrition programs, giving women the opportunity to exclusively breastfeed for 6 months, paternal leave, 2 years of pre-primary. You're really building the foundations of today's Nigeria for tomorrow's Nigeria, and it's very important.
In your report, 3 policy recommendations were proposed. How feasible are these solutions, bearing in mind the country's challenges?
I think they are achievable. We saw at the launch this week when the Honorable Minister of Health really supported strengthening areas around nutrition, supporting better health for young children. And they're very involved in campaign, as well as the First Lady, in terms of exclusive breastfeeding in the first 6 months. Currently in Nigeria, women have 3 months paid maternity leave. And it's really extending that, building on the foundations Nigeria already has, to 6 months. Currently Nigeria has 1 year free pre-primary. It's really extending that 2 years and providing the environment to stimulate learning, stimulate the brain, because this is where your investment needs to happen. By investing as little as 50 cents per person, you reap about 14% increase in the future, which has a greater, about 25% potential increase in future earnings. So it's better learning and better earning moving forward in the future.
Okay, you've also said that all of these require they definitely require some sort of large amount of financial support. How much support is UNICEF willing to give, especially aiding the government? Plus, can you give us a mental picture on a scale of 1 to 10, how badly we're doing with this research?
Well, UNICEF is very committed in working with the federal government of Nigeria. We have an excellent partnership, and a lot of things are in place. It's really like strengthening the governance, implementation, and financing. Really getting the money to where the children are is very important. In terms of the current situation, only 36% of children in Nigeria actually have opportunity to access early childhood care and facilities, and that's quite low. I think, as you mentioned earlier in your program, only 31%, as low as 31%, is severe stunting. And this is quite significant.
Okay.
But it's really investing in these years when children are young and ensuring they have access to good nutrition, exclusive breastfeeding, meals, diverse diet. They're protected from violence, stress, pollution, and then are given stimulation. Parents can engage more with their children at home, play, talking, learning games,
Mr. Durnan,
spending more quality time.
If I can ask this final question, we're running out of time. For children who have gone past the early childhood stage and perhaps didn't have the recommended foundation for good development, is it too late? Briefly, if you can.
I think it's never too late, but it's a higher investment. When you invest young, it's quite economic. But the older the child is, the more you need to invest to bring them up and really to fully engage in Nigerian society and the economy.
Harry Durnan, who joins us, has been joining us from our Abuja studios. He is the Chief of Education from UNICEF. Well, as we end the program today, we land in Egypt, where Cairo's annual festival honors comics of the past, paving way for upcoming Arab artists.
Egyptian artists recently came together for the third annual Cairo Comics Festival to showcase their superheroes and honor a rich history of Arab comic books. Dozens of comic enthusiasts attended the three-day vibrant festival that displayed anime, books, and new artistic projects from local and international artists in the capital city of Cairo. A new addition to the festival this year was a live projection of an artist at work that demonstrated the process and style behind developing storytelling comics. Cairo Comics also shed light on Spanish comics, displaying the work of 10 of its most prominent comic artists from different generations, with one artist, Alfonso Zapico, in attendance. Displays of past comics such as the popular 1960s Samir were seen in exhibits, but authors and artists claim that Egypt's history with graphic novels and comics date back almost 100 years.
It's a great future ahead. However, we already have a rich past with comics. You can see Samir comic here from the 1960s. We do have heritage in comics, and he has a website called Arab Comics, which documents the history of comics in Arab nations from the 1960s, maybe 1923. I believe the future and past of comics are both honored in this festival. So it's something I like and I try to contribute to.
The festival aims to bring together underground artists and provide a platform for a growing trend in Egypt and the Middle East. Palestinian comic artists were also part of the festival.
This culture has been increasing significantly in Egypt lately. I decided that I wanted to author stories and at the same time be responsible for its outcome. I wanted to show people my vision for my stories, so I found that comics are the best medium to deliver my own stories.
This year's edition provided prizes such as Best Published Graphic Novel in Arabic and created discussions, workshops, and the chance for upcoming artists to meet experts. The festival hopes to continue for a fourth edition in 2018.
And that's Network Africa at this time. Many thanks for watching. I'm Millicent Walker.